Doug will watch the screen to see if anyone else zooms in for us. But we do have a quorum, so we will dive right in. Our first order of business is acknowledging the public attendance and amending the agenda if necessary. We do have one member of the public who wishes to make a comment on an item not on the agenda. Typically, our rules of the meeting are that if the public comments on something on the agenda, that comment is made at the beginning of that segment. Since you have a comment that there is no segment, we would bring it up typically under the highway probably report, but Norm is not yet joined us, so please make your statement.
So I'm Sue Andrews and I live on 207
Oh.
Road. I'm Billsburg.
Ah, okay, nice to meet you.
So we've been in our house now for a couple of months, and I have to say that we are horrified by the speed of the traffic in front of the house. It's River Road, and it's a fairly straight section, and then it turns a corner in front of the Fountains house, and then goes on a straightaway past the permaculture park. There's people, regularly people who are doing upwards of 50, 60 miles an hour there. And our concerns, it just seems like an accident waiting to happen. People come around the curve in both directions, a lot of near misses. My biggest emotional concerns is there's a daycare down the corner. They push a baby buggy with 6 babies in it. And it's an unforgiving shoulder. The shoulder on our side just goes onto the lawn, but on the other side, it's a 12 to 15 foot drop off. So I drove the stretch today from Harrington Road up to our house. It's all posted at 30 miles an hour. Seems a little excessive, but especially when Park Street is posted at 25 miles an hour. But I just wanted to bring it up as an item of interest. There's a huge amount of traffic on that road, specifically between 6 and 8:30 a.m. and about 4 and 6:30 p.m. And people are all in a hurry.
We've done a number of speed studies on a number of our roads. I don't recall that we've done River, and that would be the beginning of anything that could be done. We could certainly get that on the schedule.
I have seen recently a couple of Bennington police cruisers. Now, whether they're looking for traffic violators, I don't know, but regardless, the issue is there.
Okay. Thank you for that. I wish we had an easy answer to say we could stop it tomorrow, but
that wouldn't be an answer
Yeah.
tonight, but it's
But thank you for bringing that to
Yeah.
attention. And I will just say for the general public, there are other members of the public who are concerned about, had brought some specific issues up. They still are, for those members of the public, they are on the agenda. Norm has been out straight doing nothing but the Welling Field the last several weeks. So this and the other item, I'll add that to discuss with him.
Maybe we could drop our speed sign down there for.
We certainly could do that, yeah. That was being repaired or
But
something.
the speed study,
especially in a time when it seems like there's a lot of people walking. And people tend to walk, especially in the afternoon during the rush hour traffic. So my concern is this seems like an accident waiting to happen that we might be able to prevent.
Harrington to River seems to be a cutover from New York side
Absolutely.
to the Bennington
It's
side of
definitely a
things.
commuter line.
Yeah. I ride the horses on the back road there. I lose control of my horse sometimes so that I'm in the middle of the road and slow people down because they don't even slow for us.
Right.
Yeah, it does. It's a little scary and a little fast because they are just trying to cut across. Yeah, the speed study is really going to be the first step to knowing exactly what's going on there. And we have to find a BCRC folk who knows how to do that thing.
Mhm.
So it'll be a process.
Yeah, okay. Okay, well, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you for coming. Following that, the next item is to review and approve minutes of our Tuesday, September 10th meeting. Those have been sent out, so previously and again the other day. So if there are any questions, please raise your hands. Scott?
I think these are excellent, but there was one typo
Please.
that I saw. Based on how beautifully they were done, I hate to bring it up, but.
Well, that's a demerit.
So under highway report,
Yes.
the grant for the culvert on Welling Road is open for 2 years. So work on that project will be done as timer permits over this period. I think it should be timed,
You are absolutely correct on that.
but other than that, I think it's perfect.
Well,
There is a misspelling of a person's name.
well, let's get that one too.
Robert Nowak's last name is Nowak, not Novak with an E.
Okay, so he's on here, Nowak.
Okay, where did I see it?
Or maybe I
Beginning,
correct.
also in attendance, it's with the V.
Oh, here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
with an E
okay.
there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, Robert. We'll correct that.
He's smiling and laughing.
Had it correct on one page and not on the other. Okay. And thank you so much for reading that so carefully. Appreciate
It's been the
that.
bane of my existence.
Any other things to note, corrections to note, or questions to ask? Seeing none, we need a motion here.
So moved to accept these minutes.
I'll second that.
Okay, so that was
Take
done.
Max.
We'll take Matthew's second. Thank you, Ray.
Yeah,
And then, all in favor then?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm an abstention.
One abstention here. Lori, do you have that? Appears so.
Tara's an abstention because I wasn't there.
Okay. Moving along then after that is our warrants. Take it away, Doug.
Okay, I have the payroll warrant on top, so we'll go with that first. So this was for the month of September, nothing out of the ordinary. One Aflac, 2 regular pay periods. Grand total is $15,844.94. Unless there's any other questions, there's really much on this one.
No, see none, no questions from Matthew either. I can go ahead and make a motion for that one, the payroll warrant, $15,844.94.
Second?
Seconded here, all in favor? Aye. Thanks, Matt. All right.
Okay, next warrant is basically the October warrant. I did label it late September/October, and that was only because there was a few electronic transactions. Lori and I did not do any late checks in September based on how late the September meeting was and how early this meeting was. We would have basically been running checks back to back, so we just decided to do a normal October. So the only few things at the top were basically supplies for treasurer, from Walmart and Staples for the billing process of tax billing, and some not stamps for postage, but stamps for return
Yeah.
address and things.
Yes.
So that's what those items are. I did provide the warrant detail. I did realize, I'm not sure why I didn't grab it, but there's the large item on there for Anderson equipment of $18,805 that for some reason wasn't on the warrant detail. So I looked into it before I came over, and the items that we had coded for Welling Field through ARPA for some reason didn't pull into the detail report. So several of the larger items that were on there, the fuel and things like that, are all part of the Wellingfield ARPA, which is just going to be a transfer.
So we have to go look at the QuickBooks report and we have to pull in, that was a new account.
Yeah.
So we just have to pull in, and there's probably a couple of other new accounts we
There
could look
probably
at.
is, right. So that clarifies that large item. I think everything else was pretty much there.
What's the Atlantic Golf and Turf?
I believe that's the
That's
sod
what-
and things that Norm has for, let me look at the, Atlantic Golf. Yes, that is, for the Welling Field.
Okay. That's the grassy,
I don't have the exact breakdown, but it could be the between this, I don't think it's seed yet. He has the top layer that's gonna set for the winter.
Yeah, the seed cost for Wellingfield is several $1,000s.
yeah, well, this is $8,400.
Then that could be it. I'm looking for it here.
It's on because it didn't pull.
Oh, because that's the one, that-
Yeah.
yeah, sorry. No, I'm looking at the detail.
Yep.
That's what I
If
was.
we have a question, we can always ask him when he comes on.
Yes, yes. Yes, because I wanted to ask about the repair on the wall there over at the firehouse. It doesn't look a whole lot different, but I know they did stuff over there.
And I think that's what he had said was it was just.
He did say it was cosmetic.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there was no
Okay,
failure. It was
Okay.
just to clean it up basically.
okay.
So the total warrant is $51,794.29.
Barring further discussion, I'll make a move.
I have a
Okay, there you go.
on the MSK Engineering and Design. Is that for Welling or for one of the other
It's
design
a
projects?
part of both. There is part of Welling and there's part of Hall.
Hall Street?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah, so that has a little bit of both in it.
good, okay, thanks.
Well, I believe there is a motion and a second
Yeah,
on the
Matt was a
table.
second.
Yes. Are there other questions? Nope, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Can we go back to the September minutes, please?
Yes?
I just wanted to say that I didn't take minutes in September.
No, I did.
Yeah, just,
I thought I sent them to you. I thought I sent out the Word doc originally.
no, I didn't have anything from September, so I wanted to just make sure that you knew that. But I'd be happy to do whatever changes you need.
Oh, well, if I didn't send you the Word doc, you can. So I thought I did way back at there. No problem, let me do it again. I'm gonna send these around to get signed and then I'll collect them back.
So are you?
And then we are,
Do you wanna-
well, we are looking for Norm, but I don't believe Norm is here
He's
yet.
not on.
And maybe he sent an email that I never got. Anyway, we're gonna jump right to North Shack Lions.
Mary, excuse me, Norm just texted me.
Yeah?
He's at a school board meeting in Bennington, and he will
Okay.
zoom in when he is finished with that meeting.
Excellent. That we'll continue and we'll interrupt whatever we're doing or speed it along and get him in. Thank you so much. Okay, then we can jump to North Shack Lions. And Kathy and Ray are here to tell us about it.
Good evening. I'm Kathy Whitman from the Lions Club, and Ray is our king lion this year. So we're here to, he doesn't have claws. We're here to let you know it is our wish to have a tree lighting ceremony in the Lions Park this year. That's as far as we've gotten. It will be December 1st at 4 p.m. And from there, we're just gonna roll with it.
Okay. Sounds fun. I think it sounds wonderful. I just, Norm typically has something that he may caution or ask for whatever particular need there would be. Is this something that requires police present or anything like that? No.
Were you
We
thinking?
never have in Shaftesbury, but
Okay.
we're very
Didn't-
tiny.
Yeah, didn't know if there was any sort of procession that goes around or,
Like a parade.
We don't even know at this point.
oh,
We're
okay,
gonna have a tree. And we will light it.
okay.
And we may have lighting on the concession stand. You know, we're thinking out of the box.
I mean, potentially there is that fire pit that would be nice for a
That's
day.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. So
And I-
potentially fire control.
Yeah. I wonder if I believe Jenny at the library said she was gonna help do some things for you.
I have
Or
not-
with you?
Yeah, I haven't spoken with her
Yeah.
again. I wanted to get through this,
Okay.
this part
Well-
of it first, and then we'll.
When I spoke with her, she seemed eager to do that, and then you might get in touch with Tara, and maybe the North Bennington Roundtable would
Oh, yeah.
want to
They might pop on and help out.
do something and make it a celebration. I think it's a great idea. Thank you for thinking
We'll
of
keep
that.
that in mind.
We have, yeah, me. But the North Bennington Roundtable is, essentially all of the businesses in North Bennington are on an email chain that they organized the block party that we had a few weeks ago. And they potentially could get Winterfest back on its feet. But this is something they might be able to help out with.
And I know you have a real large to-do at the mansion, and, I don't think we want to be part of that. I think we want to be more
Your
the
own.
Shaftesbury
For sure.
end of it
You might,
and
you
bring
might
us into.
connect to some musicians that way, unless Shasbury's got some good musicians.
Well,
We work very closely with Norm. I mean, we did a lot of
Yeah,
maintenance
yeah.
over the last few years.
Yes.
Dugouts, we rebuilt all the bleachers, all that kind of stuff, so. And then we run our meetings at the VFW now too.
Great.
Oh, excellent. Well, I kind of figured you would have had some relationship there, but just for the public to know
Yep.
that, that we're all in.
Okay.
Good, thank you very much.
What day, the first?
December 1st.
December 1st.
At 4:00.
Okay, I'm putting it in my brain.
We'll keep
What was this for again?
North Shaft Lions.
North Shaft Lions.
What's the occasion?
tree lighting.
Christmas tree lighting.
Ah, I didn't know.
No problem.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming in person.
Good to see you.
Okay. Doug, you want to start with the treasurer's report?
Yeah, I've got a
Holy
number of
moly, it's
items
only
here.
7:15.
Fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so, number one, tax collection is well underway. All tax bills are out. If you are listening, watching, and you have not received a tax bill, please reach out. I have several bills that have come back, return, unable to forward, so I'm working on trying to track those down. But if you just didn't have it, got lost in the mail, email is the best, which is on our website. It's also treasurer@villagenorthbennington.org. Also, right on the front page of the website, there's two links that are on there. One has what will be my in-person hours here at the depot to collect taxes for those that don't want to mail. So those will be Tuesdays and Saturdays beginning next week. So a week from tonight, Tuesdays will be 5 to 7 up until tax day, and Saturdays will be 9 to 11 here at the depot. Tax day, I am aiming to do from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. here on site. The second link,
What was the Saturday hours again?
Saturdays are 9 to 11. The second link is information about the two most common questions when people are looking at their tax bill, and that is the state payment amount and the homestead versus non-homestead filing. Both of those are handled through the state of Vermont. So in that link, I have the link to the state, the phone number, and the information. The deadline is rapidly approaching to make any changes. Otherwise, it is what it is for this year. So folks who may have not filed their tax returns and the April deadline and are on an extension, or folks that are not required to still need to file a homestead form with the state of Vermont in order to get the homestead rate if it is in fact your homestead. And the state payment is a similar process. So all of that information is on our site with the links to the state because I cannot make any changes to those items. Any questions about taxes at this point?
No, I do believe though that the hours, they're posted at the post office and here and at the library.
Yes, and I remember I forgot to print one out to put here, so it will be posted here.
Okay.
But yes, yeah, they're around town. It is running in the banner also.
Oh, yeah.
Yep,
Great,
we have the
thank
ad,
you.
we have
Yes.
the classified ad and banner for those hours. So if anybody has somebody ask them, they can direct them to any of those places. Again, my phone number and email are on the tax bill, the website, all of those fun places.
And you also accept a water bill?
Yeah, the
payment
water
at the
bills
same
are
time?
out also. So yes, if somebody would like to pay the water bill at the same time as their taxes, that's perfectly fine. Anything sewer I cannot accept because that is through the town of Bennington. And then obviously other tax bills, Shaftesbury, Bennington, those have to go to those municipalities. So that is it for those. Few other items that I have. I sent out the September cash balances. Again, nothing out of the ordinary. Preliminary, I just haven't reconciled the last checking account yet, so that'll change slightly. The tax money market obviously is going to start to grow at this point. So the good news is we made it through to tax collection without having to use any reserve funds on a temporary basis. So we were able to get through that without any problem. And yeah, so there's really nothing there to
Excellent.
discuss. Next quick item, in the mail last week, we got our update for health coverage. We have one employee who receives health coverage through the village. So the very good news is the increase is very, very minimal, preliminary as of now. So it would go from $1,132.59 per month to $1,337.35. So basically a $6 increase.
Remarkable.
Yes. So there's nothing better than you could do with that. And again, like we said in years past, there's really nothing we can shop because like I said, we have one employee. So there's really nothing that we could do better with. Okay, so the last two items that I have, I'll go with the heavier one first. So I sent the email regarding the audit / accounting with a brief explanation. So I'll just go over that quickly for the minutes. After the long process of finding somebody, hopefully we have reached the end of the road here. 2 weeks ago, myself, Mary, and Steve from the Water Board met via Zoom with Ron Smith, who is the owner / managing partner of RHR Smith & Company, certified public accountants, and discussed the needs for the water department and the village for audit services moving forward. Obviously, tonight we'll talk about the village needs. The biggest change is, and we've talked about this before, the village had been on a 3-year cycle. Ron said that is a no-go for them. That would be an immediate, they don't do that. They do not offer that long of a break in service. They're a year-to-year audit / accounting firm. It had already been discussed and Mary was in full favor on the Zoom. And we had talked about this, I believe it actually was at the annual meeting, about potentially switching to annual anyway. So the conversation obviously continued under that, with that moving forward. So we have a proposal that was provided. They took a look at our previous audits from our prior firm, asked a few questions, went over our stuff, and were fully comfortable with the village, didn't have any concerns, any questions other than the normal items. And the very good news is for at minimum the first year, if not the years going forward, the second year going forward, the rate is going to be what we had paid. So the rate that's being offered at minimum for the first year is $12,000. So that is exceptional news, considering the only other firm that we were able to get a proposal from was a minimum of $30,000.
So just so you know, this was exhausting work that Doug has done. It has taken a lot of time, a lot of inquiries, and there is no option for doing a 3-year audit. There is none. So, and the state may be changing that requirement anyway, according to Mr. Smith that we spoke with.
Right.
They are leaning in that direction anyway. It will be much easier for Lori and for Doug going forward to just producing 1 year of records rather than having to go through 3 years and parse out what they think might be needed and then dig back to find.
And the other thing that will get cleaned up too is the annual report, because then we will just be able to put the audit in as opposed to having to do the whole spreadsheet, because we wouldn't have those 2 years in between.
That's right.
So for the annual report, it would start the following year, because this year we're going to be off cycle slightly because of the dates. But moving forward, hopefully after this year, then it would just be the audit that goes in to show for the annual report. So again, it takes another piece of the puzzle off, duplication of records.
Yeah.
So right now the process, Mary and I have to talk about the proposal. Ray had a question, which is a good idea, to possibly run it by the school who uses the same firm to see if their proposal is similar. Obviously, it's economies of scale, so it's slightly different.
And there are different requirements of a municipality.
So I think tonight, Mary.
It looked like pretty much a form letter.
It did.
I agree 100%.
Seen it before on the school audit.
Yep, and there was nothing that jumped out at me when I read through it that said, whoa, where is that coming from?
Right.
But obviously you want to read through it and make sure, so I figured Mary and I will circle on it.
Yeah, and it was very descriptive on the roles and responsibilities of the municipality. They are, in terms of they are not doing process audits, so they can provide opinions, but only basically on opinions on the information that we provide. It is up to the municipality to provide comprehensive, clear, and accurate information.
Yes, and that's the same with the school districts. They perform exactly the same audit, that's why.
Okay.
That might be useful, but I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's about twice what the school district has to pay.
Yeah.
But that's because we're with a group of other school districts, so
Exactly.
we get the minimum price. That's the minimum. Ours is like $6,500.
Yeah.
Minimum price.
Right, and like you say, if you extract that from what the buying power is of the grader, it might be more similar to this price.
Right, but I don't, if that poses a question, or can you get together with some other, other municipalities locally and pool, but I doubt that's going to be cost effective.
Right, and I think part of the issue there would be, while the school districts are separate, they are kind of together, because you're funneling to the same.
And the system on which all the data is the same.
Is the same, exactly. So I would think this evening, if there's no other questions, then I think the motion would need to be to move to the annual audit and to move forward with RHR Smith and Company.
Okay, so you want that as two different?
No, I
Have we historically had, a line item for audits in the budget?
So we have had a reserve because it was every 3 years.
Yeah.
So this year, what we had done, if you remember when we set the tax rate, I did put an amount in anticipation of this.
Okay.
And the amount that I put in is actually, because it was 2 different things, so I have enough in to move to a line item.
Okay.
And then going forward, my guess is, and Mary and I can discuss and the board would need to approve, we can probably get away from the audit reserve because now it will be an annual line item.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to answer your question,
Yes
no,
and no.
but yes.
Yes and no. There's a reserve fund. I meant to say that, I just said the
Yeah,
other thing.
exactly.
So, the annual, moving to an annual audit is because of this auditor, and also we can't find any other auditor who would do it. So we'll just I'll move that we accept this audit proposal from, was it
Ari
Smith.
For fiscal year, what?
6/30/24.
2024.
Yeah.
Right.
Scott, did you have something to say?
Yeah, I had just a quick question. When we discussed this a few meetings ago, you said you were having difficulty finding a Vermont firm and that the people you were finding were mostly in the Albany area. Is that how it sugared out?
No, so actually, so.
Well, this guy's from Maine.
So I'll give you the entire backstory in a nutshell. So as he presented himself, he is a native Vermonter who lives in Maine, but spends more time now in Vermont than he did when he actually lived here. He owns property in St. Johnsbury. His corporate office is in Maine. However, his service area is the Northeast.
Right.
And he has a number, he didn't give the exact number, a number of employees that are 100% based in the state of Vermont. Burlington area. I mean, they're not in the southern part of the state.
Right.
So yes and no, but they will be, as part of the proposal, they will be physically on site, so meaning here in the depot, for at least a portion of the audit. It will be determined once all the details are ironed out as to, timing and things like that. So, and then there will be a lot of electronic transfer, obviously.
Right.
So it shook out that the firm is in Maine, but with Vermont roots.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all to the good. I like that.
Yeah.
So I made a motion to accept that proposal.
Yes.
And I'll second it.
And I think as part of that motion, because they would not be offering this except on an annual basis, we just include that in there that for switching to, that will force us to switch to an annual audit. So I guess, I don't know, I didn't wordsmith it, I wordsmithed it differently.
I think I understand what you're
Yes.
saying.
Right.
And I'm quite certain Lori will know how to get that in there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she.
Yeah. Matt, did you have any questions? I couldn't quite see. Is Matt?
Yeah, he's right there.
Yeah. Did you have any questions? You're good with it?
I'm good.
Okay. Then we will call that question. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you again, Doug. That was huge. Yeah.
Yeah, Scott, was your second?
I
Yeah.
seconded it.
Yeah.
Now, do we need a motion to
No.
switch to a
No,
annual?
no, that it
He's
was,
great.
the proposal
Put that
was.
in there, that's in
Yes,
Put it all in there
the
one.
proposal was for that. Okay. All right. Cool beans. We don't quite yet
I
have
don't know,
Norm.
Norm has not.
No, that's okay. DRB, anything from DRB?
I'll speak to it if you want.
Yes.
We do have a meeting next week,
Okay.
Tuesday at 7:00. The topic on the agenda is 416 College Road, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. The subdivision of a parcel on 416 College Road.
Planning Commission, Kim, we are kind of ahead of schedule, so
You gentlemen may come up to the table, stay where you are, whatever you feel like doing. Grab a chair.
That chair is very hard.
Yeah. We need cushier ones.
These wooden ones aren't much softer.
No, but they're warm.
Yes, they are. So much better. We're working on the village plan, of course, and we're at the last 3 chapters, transportation, energy, and community services. Dan Delury, who works for the White House now as an energy consultant, has taken on the last 2 chapters, transportation and energy. And the community services chapter is being addressed by the organizations being discussed. So we'll be pulling that together partially next meeting and then probably continuing on for another meeting or 2 before we have the text generally in good shape. We will be revisiting Chapter 8 housing, and that is because Mary and I are meeting with the senior planner at BCRC concerning housing. All of the 17 municipalities that are under BCRC's scope have targets being applied for new dwelling units in the next 6 years. And we're going in there because they have assigned the number 50 in 6 years for North Bennington, which we think, at least I think, is extraordinarily ambitious. They divided into 25 single-family homes and 25 rental units.
Like accessory dwelling stuff?
Possibly, yeah.
Well, I believe there were 5 ADUs in that list that parsed out how the 50 would add up.
Yeah. So we're going in there, challenging the logic, making the comparison with our neighbor Shaftesbury, where they have a 43
I believe.
acre, square mile
Yes.
area, and their target is 42.
Oh my God, and they want us to do more?
And we're 2 square, so we have 800, almost 900 people per acre here.
Yeah.
And they have 1/10 of that, 89 per acre. So that's one of the thoughts, and then we continue on. Well, not only that, but we have conserved land and we have a college taking up other aspects of our 2.1 square miles and saying the rent costs are lower in Shaftesbury. Anyway, we're going to discuss it with Janet and say, where is this target coming from?
Yeah.
And these are supposed to be Section 8 compliant in
No,
terms of
no,
homes?
no,
Oh, okay,
no,
just
just
housing.
dwelling units.
Okay. Are there grants available for us to make this happen?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
2 of the grant programs have already closed. They ran out of money for one, and the other one had a deadline and it's over. So there is one still available, and we'll be exploring the specific aspects of that.
May I just point out, though, that the information that I had sent to trustees, this is all going to be discussed at that October 24th Zoom meeting. So it really is rather important that especially DRB people, if not every trustee, could attend that meeting. It may be recorded for those of you who can't. We can hopefully share that later. But it's really important to know what this plan
It's a Thursday?
is October 24th. And I think it was, I can't even remember the time. I think it might have been 4 o'clock in the afternoon. At any rate, it's on and it's also on our website. It's scheduled on the website and everything else, but it is important to know what, And I thought it was the 24th.
Okay, so.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't remember.
At any rate, it's just information that is important for at least trustees, DRBs, planning commissions. Civic engagement is important in this too. It should be on the calendar. I just saw it there. At any rate, go ahead, Kim. I just wanted to
Yeah.
point that out. That's an important email for trustees to revisit.
Next topic,
Yes.
emergency planning. Regional Emergency Management Committee met a couple of months ago. It was rather uneventful, but there is another one coming up on November 12th. And that has to do with animal sheltering during a crisis.
Okay.
Also, there is a tabletop exercise,
Yes.
which is the 24th, I think.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's the one I'm thinking of.
A blizzard
Yes.
is being proposed, is being run through in southern Vermont. And all of the municipalities in southern Vermont will be participating. And I think it's being held at the firehouse in Bennington.
Yeah.
Okay, we pulled it from DCRC. October 24th at 4 p.m.
Okay.
Is what?
The special meeting
It's
for
a
the house.
special meeting. It is posted.
It is Zoom.
Yes, it is Zoomable, and it was sent to trustees at one point. So look at, like last week or so.
When is the tabletop exercise?
The tabletop is, I thought the tabletop was later.
Well, look,
We'll look.
I don't remember.
Yes.
Anyway, that's going to be a blizzard, and all municipalities will be participating, and hopefully our emergency management director
I'm assuming that.
will be there. That's Mr. Myers. I'm going to be there, and maybe other members of the planning commission will be there to see how that goes, because we have a tabletop exercise hopefully coming up on the dam. Speaking of the dam, have I already mentioned that the inspection report finally came through? That came in, I think it was done in June, and it came through a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I believe that was in our minutes, but it is certainly worth repeating.
And the assessment was identical to the previous report in 2022. The dam is hydraulically
Oh, no.
inadequate.
Yes, that was not. What was mentioned was the, sorry, I'm getting you off track.
It's all right.
That the last meeting you mentioned that the track is a private spur and therefore not exempted under the federal regulation, but as of the last meeting, we had not gotten the safety report. So
That was my understanding.
Yeah, so the inspection report did come in, it was virtually identical. I've been in contact with the Conservation District concerning a past watershed project, the Perrin Creek watershed project. And I didn't know what that was, so the person who I contacted at the Conservation District wasn't there at the time. He doesn't know, he was gonna look, but he did mention in passing that grants are available for studying the watershed. So I'm asking him to come to the Planning Commission on Monday and tell us how we might be able to utilize this grant for lowering the threat of the dam.
Is his name Michael Hernandez?
Yes.
Yes. He's quite a nice guy.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. So the thought that at least I have, and I've shared with Mary, is V-Trans is probably not going to want to spend the money to repair the dam and make it hydraulically adequate. It would be a fortune to do, I'm sure. They're not in the business of building dams. They are barely maintaining this one. So their potential resolution of the issue, since it is a very real threat to our village, is to remove the dam. It's a recreational lake, and there is no issue for them. They're not in the business of making recreational lakes. So rather than do that, there might be a middle ground where we simply have the spillway lowered. What that would do is make the lake smaller and shallower. It would reduce the risk of an overtopping of the dam to the point where we could sustain major weather and not have a risk to the village. So it's an odd situation because the dam is in our municipality, but the lake is in the municipality of Shaftesbury and the town of Bennington. So what their reaction to that might be, I'm not sure. But unless they're willing to put up the money to repair the dam or support V-Trans in building up the dam, I don't know that they really have much skin in that game.
Do we know how much that would affect things ecologically and how far you're, like, how much?
Would
deeper,
this
shallower?
grant could study that?
That's exactly why we were looking at the grant,
Okay.
so that we could have an engineer answer that question.
Because I know all the stuff they've been doing with the milfoil is to prevent it from, secondary succession where the lake starts turning into a swamp.
Right.
And shallowing it out might also contribute to that.
It might,
Yeah.
it might. But we've got the risk to the village.
That's right.
It's
You have to-
genuine when you see
Which
the
risk
damage.
which
associated-
risk
Yeah,
is,
when you see the damage associated with 11 inches of rain where dams collapsed.
yeah,
It's a very real possibility, and we need, as a planning commission, we can only recommend that we do something about this. It's-
What in your estimation is what would collapse on this? It would just overtop, is that,
Oh, once an earthen dam is overtopped, it will fail.
it will fail?
Yeah.
Are there studies?
Sorry?
Matthew had one.
yeah. Can we get Matthew first? Matthew, go ahead.
Are there studies that and the impacts that we have in scenarios? Because I don't think there's actually a whole lot of volume of water in that lake, but I feel like it's a fool's errand to even play the game. But I'm curious. I mean, has somebody decided that a 11-inch rain will cause catastrophic damage in the village, or is it just hyperbole? Or
No, that's from the dam report. If you haven't seen the dam report, inspection report, then you should get a copy of that.
We can send that to all trustees.
All trustees, yeah.
I would like to.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's between 10 and 11 inches or 11 and 12 inches. I'm not sure that the dam is overtopped. And
And
From
then what happens?
well, first of all, there would be flooding in advance of that. And then once the dam is overtopped, it's an earthen dam, it would essentially be washed away.
You eroded from.
Eroded.
And then
And then the full volume of the water of the lake would enter Barron Creek.
And there hasn't been a significant flooding in, downstream of there, even in the, what was it, 37, there was significant issues, but even the development below Pangea survived for 200 years.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure where that water would inundate the village per se.
Okay, the inundation map is also published by the state, and you can be copied on that too.
Please.
And you can follow the inundation. Sure.
Thank you.
And some of this is not because of the past 100 years, it's looking forward to the next, like the communities and some of our other surrounding communities that were canoeing down their streets and never had to do that before, or just look at Florida.
Yeah, look at North Carolina.
Yeah.
Let's take a look and we can see what Florida looks like.
Yeah.
Have you looked into V-Trans's liability? If they are not interested in correcting what's wrong with the dam and it fails, are they liable?
Yes.
No.
They are.
Yes, they are.
Oh, they are, okay.
Yes, not as a lawyer, but as from what I've read, the dam owner is the responsible party. And V-Trans is the dam owner.
Okay. That's very
Now,
interesting.
they're the state at the same time as
Yeah.
so, they're wearing a couple of hats, and I'm not sure how that would all work out. But yes, they would be liable.
Then even what you're suggesting there, they would have to pay for it, accept and do the action, the remediation.
That's correct.
Okay.
But-
There's not too much chance of that either.
But then what about, when we heard at a previous meeting, where if there are corrections to be made and they're not made, then FEMA does not need to, was that it? If there were corrections to be made that were ignored and not made, then if there is damage, it's not reimbursable by FEMA.
Yes,
That's
I think
correct.
that's correct.
That is correct.
So, yeah. So the state wouldn't pay for it, the state would be looking for FEMA to pay, and whether FEMA would pay because everybody's pointing at everybody.
Right.
Yeah, well.
Which is why we need to be on the record.
Yeah, and
Addressing
we're
this
covering
issue.
our butts in paperwork by doing all of our due diligence.
Which is why I'm suggesting that the trustees think about pursuing this grant.
To me,
Study
more
the workshop.
information is always better.
What's the timeline on the grant?
I don't know.
We don't know yet.
This is the watershed study?
Yes, we're hoping that Michael will come to the meeting. And by the way, Norm is, thank you, Norm. So we'll get to Norm here as soon as we can. But the planning commission meeting is on Monday, the 21st. That is on the calendar, already changed correctly there. And we'll get some information out again to all bodies concerned. There's also a training that, a seminar that could be useful for trustees and DRB and planning commission with regards to zoning administration, enforcement of such, and things like that. So we'll get all of that information out because there is a lot that is kind of all coming at once to look at and do with the with the exercises and the public meetings and
Budget meetings.
with regards to emergency planning and things like that. So
The
we'll get all
tabletop
that.
exercise is on the 21st.
No, the 21st is
Planning
the
commission.
planning commission.
Planning commission. That's easy.
That's correct. I can try and summarize that for everyone.
Kim, were you looking for any sort of motion, or are we just gonna keep looking at that grant and keep an eye on it?
Well, no, we don't know the parameters of the grant yet, so we'll find out. But I've expressed interest in finding that out and asked him to come to our meeting. So,
Okay, great.
Additionally, on emergency planning, I have put together a list of supplies. It's just sort of off the top of my head. As doing something is better than nothing. And over time, if the trustees can set aside a regular amount in the budget to build up these emergency supplies, then at some future date, we'll be adequately prepared to turn the village school into a limited shelter. And that limited shelter would be a heating center, a cooling center, and a community gathering area, and an area for respite during an emergency. I can't call it a shelter because at this point, we're not anticipating showers and no,
Beds, you're thinking beds? Okay.
we're thinking beds, at least cots.
Okay.
So the list is a starting point, just to say, shall we put some dollars next to this? Shall we start setting aside a regular withdrawal to build up a reserve? I think probably the most expensive thing on the list is the electrical work at the village school, so that an emergency generator will tie into the correct circuits to create the shelter. So that would be the auditorium and the kitchen refrigerators and the, if there's a sprinkler pump or, all those things which would go in to make that a necessary space, an appropriate space for.
And we could keep our eye out for grants, because there are emergency preparedness grants that do come out. And we have not made any headway then with Bennington College and the preliminary discussions there. There's been I don't think we've heard any.
The safety officer up there said that's not his pay grade.
Okay.
He would want us to talk directly to administration.
Okay.
And then he can apply whatever direction he gets. Now, to do the electrical work at the village school, well, first of all, you'd need to secure a relationship with the village school. So you'd need to create an agreement with them. But you'd need an engineer over there looking at their electrical system to see what work could be done, map it out, and then you'd be able to have a budget for that particular. If you can't secure the agreement, there's no point in doing the study. If you secure the agreement and the study says this is not going to work, then we put it on hold. But the first thing I think is to approach the school and make some sort of letter of intent, and then go from there.
And another storage issue too. I mean, this is down the pipe from that for supplies and cots and things like that.
Well, my thought would be that as much as possible, everything should be stored in a trailer. And then it can be relocated as is necessary, either to the college or to the village school.
Perhaps
Or container. And the thought would be, if you had an appropriate generator that ran on propane, maybe you have propane tanks that the village fills, sitting there, ready to go, so that the generator can run for
there's no propane there.
a week or whatever. Whatever the appropriate, I mean, you'd be able to get deliveries presumably, so maybe it doesn't need to be more than a week's worth.
Kim and I have also been working with BCRC and the town of Bennington as the town of Bennington develops annexes to their local emergency management plan. They're starting with cooling centers, and then they'll go to heating centers and other types of things. And pardon, at this point, North Bennington residents could always avail themselves of the services that are over there. But the communication plans and exactly how you pull that together and put that in North Bennington's LEMP is still a little uncertain to me. So we're trying to find these answers.
The public outreach and communication in the event of an emergency really is, I think, best served by coming from one source, and that's Bennington's communications group.
Yeah.
They have a person that's his job. So I don't think we'd want to duplicate that.
No.
But having a cooling center here or a heating center or something here, I think is only reasonable.
Yeah.
But I'm not a trustee. It's
Yeah.
up to you.
And if we
make
have,
those decisions.
and if we have a annex that says, go see Bennington, then you have to figure out, well, who is, and I'm losing the word, sorry, who is triggering the event? Because Bennington has the emergency management directors and the deputy emergency management directors. Well, if they do it for some situations, if North Bennington says, well, we'll use their directives for some situations, I'm not sure how that works for others. So anyway, a lot of learning that we're trying to do.
And honestly, Kim, I don't know if you realize, but the head of school is sitting behind you, listening to all of this.
He's not good. I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt.
I'd like to make a comment that if there's a major flood event, we could lose all the bridges that could connect us to Bennington. So having a facility on the west side of Parent Creek, I think would be very important.
I think it's also wise just because, Bennington has so many more people than us, and we have a bite-sized number that we could accommodate a lot of people, hopefully, to satisfy most of our constituents in the case of an emergency.
Yeah, the area per cot, for instance, I'm looking at the FEMA manual, which is on the list as something that would be part of the supplies, is 40 square feet per cot.
The 4 by 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although you wouldn't put a cot in 4 by 10. But, so you could get 50. Putting some aisles in and guesstimating the size of that auditorium as a basketball court, I estimated that you could have 50 cots.
If it was worse than that, you could use the library.
Fill up the spaces.
Yeah.
And, right. So we've been talking about emergency power to do all that.
You heard most of what you were talking about regarding the school.
So I think,
Speaking as the chair of the Prudential Committee, since Irene, I've thought about, shouldn't we be moving in this direction? Because it seems to me like it's one of the few buildings we have that's got some suitability for that purpose.
And is located in the.
It's located high and dry.
Yes.
well, Kim has done an exhaustive amount of work on this, so thank you on behalf of the entire village for that. And more continues, so thank you for the update, and again, we'll try to summarize some of the things, the seminars and trainings and all the stuff that's coming up, to hear about that.
Useful. Yeah.
Thanks again, Ken.
Thank you, Ken.
Thanks.
Yes. Tim, did you have a specific thing you wanted to talk about?
I just wanted to see if you had any questions for me. Ray had emailed me and said that you might, I've answered some of them, but I just wanted to make sure there weren't other questions.
In regards to this?
And
Borrowing
The bucket.
Norm is on. Let's talk to Norm about the bucket loader. Come on up.
Sorry, I had Southshire soccer stuff this evening, so.
Norm, are you there? There he is.
Here he comes.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Okay,
what's the question?
I just wanted to see if you had any questions about the front end loader for the village school over either on Friday or Saturday.
No, you're gonna use the little whackers, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, the little one. I was thinking your big truck.
Whatever you will get, whatever you will load
No,
us.
because the concern is somebody has to know how to operate the darn thing.
It was a
And-
question of liability.
And a
Yeah.
big truck, I was thinking the big truck, that the only person that could touch that, I would think, would be Norm. But I defer on this, all things to Norm. So whatever Norm says is okay
Yeah,
with me.
whatever you are willing to do, Norm, it would behoove us to just get as much of the mulch moved as we possibly can.
What are you mulching?
Well, the
Redoing the
mulch is gonna
playground.
be delivered.
Yeah,
The mulch is gonna be delivered and then you're bringing it on site, correct?
so it'll be sort of in that, on Church Street, sort of the turnoff thing,
Yeah.
the fire lane. It'll be dumped all there and then we'll be moving it from there into the playgrounds.
Yeah, so you gotta, excuse me. So yeah, your janitor last year ran the little whacker. You find out who's gonna run it and you send them up. Well, we're still there and we'll show you how to use it.
Okay,
Okay, and I have a couple other tractors lined up as well, so that would be great.
excellent.
So I'll send Terry up to meet with you and we'll figure it out.
Yeah, you gotta give me a minute to go up and down my volume so I don't get the reverb. But, yeah, have them come find me. We'll probably be at Welling Field working, you know, and then we'll get it worked out. Or 7 in the morning is always a great time to get a hold of us.
All right, sounds good. Thank you very much, Norm. I appreciate it. And thank you for the time, guys. I appreciate
Sure.
it.
Thank you for
Thanks, Sarah.
stopping in. Norm, you're up for the rest of it. Report as you wish. It's 8 o'clock, a little after, so you can take as little or as much time as you want.
I'll take a little. I'm just gonna turn my volume down, so don't ask questions until I'm done. So the first thing is, obviously, we've been working really, really hard on Welling Field. It's almost completed. We went and got a way bigger hydro seeder today. You're gonna see some hits on the credit card for rental agreement, and you know, then there's a deposit and blah, 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 blah. We're gonna start seeding it tomorrow. And hopefully it should be done. Art Whitman spread all the material yesterday with his truck. He spent all day. Again, I can't say how good Art Whitman is to our community. It's, you know, so you see him, you need to reach out and thank him. You know, I'm sure he's, you know, probably going to send us an invoice. I'm going to bug him for it. But, you know, he did a great job for us in a very short amount of time. I do have an invoice that I'm going to presenting, so I'm going to request the board make a continuance. Next week would be fine, so we can get an invoice paid from a couple of the people that cut us some real good deals on doing some dirt work there. I just got it just recently, so I didn't have time to send it to Doug. I haven't even opened the email yet to read it.
Norm.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I just looked over at Mary. I don't think we would need a continuance. It's all part of the Welling Field project. If you're approving it, then it's gonna fall within the scope of the project. So you can send it to me and Lori, and I'll make sure the checks get cut as soon as possible.
That's perfect. That's, yep, that's great. That way we get our contractors, paid, people have helped us out, pull this off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tremendous savings to the village.
Yeah, so yeah, it's all within that. It's
So
all within the
other than
scope
that,
of
we'll start doing, the fountain probably be closed next week. You know, we'll start on a regular winter maintenance and, you know, getting things all tidied up. Again, we've had our helper, Timmy Houston, we've been invaluable this year. You know what I mean? He's done such a great job. And if you see him, you know, please thank him. So it's hard to find people, dependable help.
Do we want to ask about, Norm, can you hear us?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. When we were doing the warrants for the month, there was a question about the 8,400 from like Atlantic Golf. Is that all Wellingfield stuff and specifics, what?
Right, just what it was. We knew that it was, I didn't have the invoice here, so is that?
It's grass feed.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
It's all the
Thank
grass
you.
feed. It's what's going out tomorrow.
Perfect.
Or start to go out tomorrow.
And if you guys have not taken a look at Wellingfield, either drive over there or go over to Lake Perrin and look across the lake. It is utterly amazing.
Yes, I've seen it.
Yeah. It is going to be just a huge resource to the entire surrounding community.
And once it's seeded, there's still work to do on establishing the fields after that? Scott tells me, I haven't seen it, but Scott went over there and told me that it looked dead level across the whole field. Is there still work to do on that, or is the grass, that's it?
They're starting seeding tomorrow. So
Yeah,
it's
once they're
level.
seeded, that's it, right?
Well, I saw it about
Yeah.
10 days ago, maybe, or a week ago.
Well, and this is why we did it now instead of in the spring,
Right,
because
so
the grass
there's
will have a
grass.
chance to
Yeah.
take root.
Yes.
And then we won't have to do it in the spring and probably pay more.
Yeah. I must say that I'm astounded.
That's our plan. The weather looks like it's gonna cooperate like it did for the rest of the project. The field is pretty much flat. The goals and stuff like that will have to be put out. There is a fence that should go up. I mean, a person kicks a soccer ball, it's going over the edge. You've seen it.
Yeah, right.
The whole bank on the outside will need to be repaired. Not repaired, would need to keep being fixed. We just don't have time for that this year. We're getting the major obstacles taken care of and done, and the rest will just piecemeal through the next 1 or 5 years. It's just the way it is.
I think that's fantastic. You guys have, that's amazing that you got this done. I'm truly astounded. You're a miracle worker, I think.
Sounds good, sir.
Yep. Do you have anything else you need of us, Norm?
No, nothing. I'm just gonna have dinner. I just came from a school board meeting. It's a very hot topic. Please educate yourself on, what went on. It involves all of us in our community. And, there we go. Have a nice evening.
All right, thank you, Norm.
You too.
Thank you.
Well, we are on,
About the pledge.
we are on old business. There's really not anything, well, actually, I'm just not even gonna say anything. The MERC grant is in. It got cut way back down from what we expected it to be. As each day went on and we worked on it, we were getting more and more feedback from the competitive nature of it. And then finally heard from BCRC that solar is likely, even though it was in the recommendation, was not gonna be covered. So we just scrapped it all out of there.
Right.
But thank you so much, Ray. You came to one of the meetings, to Bill Christian, pardon me, Becky Manning and Kim Hall were all helpful in getting that done. As for new,
So you haven't heard back yet?
no, we won't hear back for another
You're
several
just talking
weeks.
about what.
Yeah, I just want to report
The
on,
editorial work that went on it, they cut it down.
yes, I just want to report on, because it had been discussed in prior meetings, that's where we were. It's in there, we'll see what we do. Let's hope, pardon me, there's something that goes on. Bennington College had a request to use the depot for a student art exhibit, much like they did last year. This would be November 30th to December 4th. I'm assuming that, I don't know that we need any motions or anything. I just wanted to make it publicly noticed and let trustees know and Lori to be aware, Norm to be aware. I'm assuming we're all in favor of that. I know Matthew was last year.
I'd make a motion. Just say we're in favor of it.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay. Oh, are we all okay? Matt, did you want to?
Good. I'm all about it.
Okay, good. All in favor? Aye. We're all done with that. And the only last thing I wanted to do, and I will ask for a few minutes, 2 or 3 minutes of folks for an executive session, just to alert a possible thing that might come up. But as far as the last thing, I wanted to think now about doing some budget planning before we actually get to the need, before that season is on us. When I looked at what we did last year, we had a special meeting on the first Tuesday in December, which is what I'm proposing that we do, the same thing this year. We'll have a special meeting on December 3rd. Last time it was on December 5th. And that's when we did a preliminary review of highway, fire, parks, general expenses, the big meaty things. So then we could finish it at our December regular meeting and then at the January meeting, because we need to get things done before January, or there's no time to make revisions and get everything done and get it to Lori in time for things to be done. And then I was wondering whether we want to hear again from all the different all the different organizations that the public supports. There is some thought, do we want to hear from everybody or only the bigger folks? But then again, it's an opportunity for some of the organizations with less support to make a case to the public to see if they should have an increased support.
Well, I was gonna say, I don't know if we need to hear from everyone if they're staying consistent, but if they want more money, maybe we hear why.
Okay.
That way, you know, we can parse down a little bit the time that the meetings do
Good,
take.
Doug had that same thought too.
Okay, yeah, I think if it's consistent and they're not changing their requests, that we don't necessarily need to hear from them.
And also, Tara,
Yeah,
I agree with you, and all of these entities give me a report for the annual report to discuss what they've used the money for and what they've been working on and what their plans are.
yeah, so it's written so that everyone can see it instead of them having to tune in.
But I think you're right. I think if they're requesting an increase, then they should come forth and explain what that might be for.
It just might make it a little more bite-sized in terms of what we're doing. So we're extending 2 meetings and we're adding a special meeting.
No, at this rate, we might not need, well, I think we should have a special meeting because there's too much to do.
Well, those are the big ones. That's highway, fire, yeah.
So what I can do is make contact with the other organizations and ask them exactly what you and Lori and Doug are saying.
Okay.
If you want an increase, let us know now so that we can schedule you in November and December.
Perfect.
Got it. Okay. That's all. That was my question, unless somebody else had another thought.
We don't need them to tell us.
No, I think those are excellent ideas.
All right, good. I just don't want to wait until November
or we forget about it.
Okay, yeah, that's.
And it's
that's a
on
good-
us.
Good thing to get ahead of it.
Yes. Okay, that is the only thing I cared to talk about. Is there anybody else that wants to say anything?
We've got something executive.
I did.
Okay.
So I would
I,
like,
I have a
Yes.
question while we're in executive.
oh,
We don't have to make any decisions.
no, and nothing that I want to say requires a decision. It's information. So I will make a request that we enter executive session for the purpose of discussing a potential legal issue. We will come out of executive session without needing any motions or motion to adjourn, but we won't have any business discussed in executive session that will need a decision.
Okay, so for CAT TV, I will put them in the waiting room, but if they choose to leave, as stated,
Yes.
there will not be any decisions made
Nothing.
upon
nothing.
exiting of executive.
Yes, other than adjournment.